Hello friends, welcome to Studio Classroom Worldwide. My name is Steve.
And my name is Rachel, and we are so glad you joined us for day 2 of our lesson, cell phones. Now, as you know, this is an American Culture Corner article, so we're giving you a bit of a taste of American culture, at least when it refers to cell phones.
Okay, again, most of us have a cell phone and we're very familiar with cell phones, but maybe it's a little different in the United States. Maybe buying a cell phone or looking at cell phone plans, service plans, or packages is a little different in the United States.
So what are some things we need to know? Well, we talked about some of them yesterday. We'll review those, and then we're going to look at some dialogues between Jack and Laura. So we hope your magazines are open to page 23, and let's listen to our dialogue starting now in line 1.
Cell phones. Conversation A. Jack is looking at the cell phone bill.
Laura, you went over your minutes again.
I did? I tried to be careful this month.
Well, you weren't careful enough. You used 250 extra minutes.
That many?
Yes. So we have to pay an extra $100.
I'm sorry, Jack.
Maybe we should switch cell phone plans. You need more minutes.
I do. When does our current contract finish?
Next month.
Then let's start looking for a different plan.
Conversation B. Jack and Laura are looking at cell phone plans.
This monthly plan looks good. We get 700 minutes for $50.
Is that enough for you? Each additional minute is 40 cents.
It should be enough. I only talk about 500 minutes now.
Let's see what it says about roaming charges. Hey, they're included.
That's great.
And look at this. Calls are free to any person who uses this same cell phone service.
Then I'd better make some friends who have the same service.
Well, Rachel, one thing that I was reminded of yesterday is that there are so many service plans to choose from. We really have to do our homework. We have to really check it out and make sure we get the service plan that suits us best because, for example, we don't want to go over the amount of minutes that we agreed upon or else we'd be charged extra.
That's a good point. And we talked yesterday about how you can estimate how many minutes you might need per month, and then you can look at the specific plans and see which one is right for you. Well, I think in our dialogue, Jack and Laura are dealing with this issue of going over your cell phone minutes. And I'm kind of picturing this here. Jack is looking at the cell phone bill, and he might not be very happy at what he sees.
Well, one thing is that it's probably higher than he expected, and maybe that could be avoided if they had a different service plan. And so Jack is thinking, do we have the right service plan? Because, well, maybe his wife likes to talk more than she lets on.
That's true. Seems like she does like to talk on the phone, and Jack tells her, Laura, you went over your minutes again. In other words, she has a certain number of minutes each month, and she went over those minutes. She talked more than she should have, or she has to pay extra money now because she, well, talked a little bit too much. But Steve, there's a good phrase here, went over. This is a very useful phrase. We use it quite a bit. And it's the past tense of go over. But what exactly does it mean?
It means to exceed, okay? To go over means to exceed, E-X-C-E-E-D. It means to exceed. And when you go over, you are actually exceeding the agreed upon amount. So in this case, we're talking about minutes. And Laura exceeded the amount of minutes, and so they're being charged extra.
Right. Another way we might use this phrase is when you're driving, if you go over the speed limit, the policeman might stop you and say, hey, you went over the speed limit. So it's a good phrase to learn. Again, it's when you exceed something or you do something too much to a certain degree. Well, unfortunately, Laura was talking too much, and she seems a little bit surprised about this because she says, I did? I tried to be careful this month, so it is something she's aware of.
That's kind of funny that you have to be aware of it, that you try to be careful. Sometimes you have to keep track of the minutes that you speak. Sometimes phones will let you know how many minutes you have left for your plan. I guess Laura did not have that function on her phone.
Either that or she wasn't paying much attention to it. Well, anyway, Jack responds with, well, you weren't careful enough. You used 250 extra minutes. So, Steve, it's not just 25 extra minutes, it's 250 extra minutes. So Laura went way over the amount she was supposed to.
Way over. She exceeded the amount by 250 minutes. And wow, she's going to pay for it. So they have to pay an extra $100. So if you do the math, that means for every minute that Laura went over the plan that they agreed upon, they have to pay 40 cents for every extra minute.
Wow, that is a lot of money, but that's not unheard of in America. That's why you need to be so careful that you know what you're paying for, you know how many minutes you have, and you know where you're at, and if that's part of the coverage that your plan includes, because nobody wants to have to pay an extra $100. And Laura seems sad about this, or she seems
surprised, at least.
Surprised, exactly, because she tells Jack, oh, I'm sorry. She feels quite bad now.
Okay, so she's surprised that it's that many, and then she feels sorry because they have to pay an extra $100. Well, Jack says maybe we should switch cell phone plans. So that's a good idea to consider. That's what this couple now has to talk through. They need to find out if they need to switch their cell phone plan.
Now, you just mentioned another vocabulary word, switch. If you switch something, then you change to something else, or you maybe even substitute something differently. But here we're talking about a change. So if you switch to another plan, you change to another plan, and this might be a good idea for Jack and Laura.
Okay, maybe they need another plan that will offer more minutes, but the price could be lower than what they're paying now, because remember that $100, that's an extra fee, and it's pretty high. It's pretty expensive. 40 cents a minute is pretty expensive. It's kind of like a penalty for going over the allotted minutes.
It is. But Steve, one thing I like here about Jack is that he wants Laura to be able to use more minutes if she needs them. He's not telling her you have to stay under this. He wants to switch the plan and give her some more minutes, because maybe, who knows, maybe she uses her cell phone for work or for important things, and so that's why they're going to switch their plan.
Okay, so Laura does need more minutes. She needs more time on her cell phone to talk, and so she asks her husband, when does the current contract finish? Remember, contract is another way of saying service plan, and Laura uses that word here. When does the current contract finish? When is it up? Because when it does finish, then we can think about choosing a new one.
And good for them, it finishes next month. How convenient. So then they can start looking for a different plan. So again, if you get a new plan and you have to wait another year, well, you just have to learn how to work with the plan you have. But when your contract is up, you can switch to a different plan, especially one that's better suited for your needs. Well, we need to take a break right now, but when we come back, we're going to look at Conversation B, so don't go away.
Hi friends, welcome back to Studio Classroom. We're on page 23, and before the break we just looked at Conversation A, where Jack and Laura are discussing their cell phone service plan. It looks like Laura talks more than she thought she did, and she's paying for it. She and Jack are paying $100 extra because of it.
Right. She went over the minutes that she had was supposed to use on her cell phone. So unfortunately, they're learning a tough lesson, but now they have the chance to switch to a different service plan because their contract is up. So here in Conversation B, they're looking at different cell phone plans. It looks to me, Steve, like they're doing their homework.
Okay, maybe they are in front of the computer looking at different websites. Maybe there's a newspaper or a magazine open in front of them and they're doing their homework. They're shopping around for a service plan that suits them best. And Laura says, well, this monthly plan looks good. And so maybe that's the plan they should go for. What is a monthly plan, Rachel?
Well, monthly is just what it sounds like. It's something that happens each month. You recognize the word month in that word? Of course, monthly is an adverb, and it just means that this happens or occurs or continues each month. And cell phone plans are usually I think maybe they're monthly or sometimes maybe even yearly plans.
Okay, so the monthly plan looks good. It looks attractive. It looks like it'll suit their needs.